we're going to be looking at 10 running backs that you can grab off the waiver wire for Week 11. These running backs you can throw into your lineup, you can stash for the rest of the season, or pick up as a handcuff, as an insurance policy, just in case the starter goes down. But what you really need to do right now is click that subscribe button. I'm always going to be here to help you with the waiver wire, finding those deep ads. We cover the waiver wire every single day. We go over the trends. We help you set your lineups, and I help you get those trades done. We talk about fantasy football all year round. Click that button so you can come back next year too. But let's look into these running backs as we head into Week 11. First things first, if nobody picked up Keaton Mitchell last week, shame on you and your league mates. He's for real. Pick him up as a stash, as your last chance. He should be rostered. I don't need to talk about him much, but he's electric. He only needs a couple carries, and he can go off for you. He's going to be up and down because he's sharing the workload in the backfield, but he's proven himself. He's earning more workload going forward. They're going to use him more because he does nothing but sell out when he's on the field. He is 3 yards in a cloud of dust if he has green in front of him. If the defense busts on their assignment, he's good as gone. Against a tough defense like the Cleveland Browns, he was able to shred them up on just a couple carries. And against a softer matchup, with that happening, he could really go off. We saw that against Seattle. He just needs to be rostered and play with the lineups with him from there. Do not let him be on the waiver wire anymore if he's on the waiver wire in your league. Devin Singletary. Very interesting running back here, as he was slow these last few weeks. Then against the Bengals on the road, he goes nuclear for 23.1 fantasy points. In his last 2 games, he's had 46 touches and an 83.9% opportunity share. Now we got Arizona, and Arizona just gives fantasy points to running backs. And if Dameon Pierce is still out, Devin Singletary is a must start. Devin Singletary needs to be picked up off waivers for this week. Even if Pierce is in and you're hurting in your lineup, you still want to look at Singletary. And you may want to even look at Pierce if Pierce is in because of this matchup as an upside play. If you're hurting, Arizona gives fantasy points at will to running backs. Devin Singletary went off last week. He's been getting a lot of touches. You got to pick him up. And this is the week where you take him seriously, too. He just went off, and he's got an easy matchup. You take him serious. You roll him out there. You see what happens. He can't be on waivers anymore. Ty Chandler is another pickup you need to think about. Alexander Madison might be out because he came out of last week's game with a concussion. Cam Akers is gone due to the Achilles injury. He's out for the season, maybe for the rest of his career. And we're looking at a running back here with 4.3 speed, who can burn, who will be getting more opportunities as the backup and will be getting starter snaps here soon. With that speed, with that burst, with Justin Jefferson coming back, with his team proving that they can move the chains with any quarterback there, and they like to run at a fast pace. You want any running back getting touches in this offense. You want the running back who is getting the large part of the opportunity share. And if Madison's out, you want to stab at Ty Chandler. You want to look at him with Madison in. You want him as a stash play just in case Madison goes out again or Ty Chandler just goes off in a sweet matchup. Now we're looking at Zach Charbonnet again. He outsnapped Kenneth Walker 3 games in a row, and it's situational dependent. If Seattle's in a game script where they got to throw the ball a lot, Zack Charbonnet is going to be in. That does not mean it's going to equate to fantasy points, but he did all right last week against Washington, 10.2 PPR fantasy points. Okay production considering where he was ranked at among fantasy rankers. 34.3% opportunity share. He's running 22.7 routes per game right now, but only getting a little less than 3 targets per game. He's getting work in the passing game. It's not equating to targets, but it could in the right matchup. And if they decide not to throw it deep in a few series because the wide receivers are locked down or whatever, or Charbonnet's open or whatever's going on in those moments, but still, he's getting snaps, he's getting opportunities, and that's what you want from running backs off the waiver wire. Taj Spears, similar but different. He's getting a lot of snaps. He's getting opportunities, 31.5% opportunity share. He's getting 5 targets per game, 14.7% target share. However, he's up and down this season. Scored 10 fantasy points last week, though. He's due to score more touchdowns on the back end of the season because he is getting touches, getting opportunities, just not an immense amount. He's more of an insurance policy just in case Derrick Henry goes down. If Derrick Henry goes down, he's getting a lot of touches, he's getting a lot of snaps, and his fantasy value is going to go up, and everybody's going to run to him off the waiver wire. You may want him as a stash just because of that. Rico Dowdle, same thing. If something happens to Tony Pollard, who's seeing a 60.8% opportunity share, then everyone's going to want Dowdle. We got to see what he looks like with 12 carries in a nasty matchup against the Giants where the Cowboys were killing them. They were destroying them, and I get it. It was softer there, but still, when are you going to see him get 12 carries? When are you going to see him get those opportunities? And he did what he needed to do it with those carries. Got you 13.9 PPR fantasy points. If something happens to Pollard, you're going to want Rico Dowdle. He looks good on the field anyways. He's a smooth operator, sees the field well, good vision, good running back as the backup, good size as well. Trayon Williams, a running back that you're probably not thinking about, but compared to him and the other backups on the roster, he's killing them in snap share behind Joe Mixon. And Mixon, if he goes down, that means Williams is probably going to be the next guy up getting touches, at least getting the bulk of it, which means he could be very fantasy relevant in this offense because this offense can move the chains. It's explosive, can get him down by the goal line, get him some opportunities. You need to be looking at Trayon Williams, especially if you're in a deeper league or if you want a handcuff stash. Kenneth Gainwell, another handcuff to look at because, one, we're on the Eagles. The schedule's going to be beneficial down the line. DeAndre Swift has an immense injury history. He's also running a fair amount of snaps, getting a decent opportunity share, so he can be productive off and on. Scored 9 fantasy points last week. Off the waiver wire, if you're getting a running back that scores 9 fantasy points, it's okay. You're not nutting over it or anything, but it's okay. It's getting the job done. Antonio Gibson, if he's on waivers, you may want to pick him up. A 28.1% opportunity share, getting almost 4 targets per game, almost a 10% target share, but he's running a lot of routes. Last 2 games, he's been productive. 12.6 against New England, 16.5 in Week 10 against Seattle. He gets work in the passing game. That elevates his upside. Has good size, adjust athleticism compared to the rest of the waiver wire running backs, considering he was a draftable running back just a few months ago. He's getting enough opportunity where he's comparable to a lot of those waiver wire guys. Something happens to Brian Robinson, his value increases immensely, and he also has standalone value in some of these plus matchups where Washington has to throw the ball and Sam Howell decides to dump it down. Sam Howell does not care who's open. He will target anybody that has a pulse, so Gibson can go off on any given week, and any wide receiver can go off on any given week on this team. Dami Brown had a decent game last week. We called him out in the sneaky start video. Antonio Gibson is a guy who's getting enough workload where you can stash him on the back end of your roster to see what happens. Dante Foreman, what the hell, if he's on waivers, go ahead and pick him up. He should be rostered in a lot of leagues, which he is, but I'm also getting a lot of questions whether or not to pick him up. So I have to talk about him. That's why he's in the back of this video. Last 4 games, 53.6% opportunity share, 18 touches per game. If you're getting this many touches, you need to be rostered. You need to be on a team. You need to be played with at least on the lineups, at least. And I get it, he's rostered in a lot of leagues, but I get a lot of questions. And if I do the video now and add him into this, maybe I answer some of the questions for you guys. Dante Foreman should not be on waivers. Those are 10 running backs that you can grab off the waiver wire. There are plenty more. There's a lot of jabroni running backs out there that you can pick up on a whim to see what happens, like an Ezekiel Elliott or whatever. But we covered 10 prominent running backs off waivers. Let me know who you're trying to get off waivers right now. Drop that in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out, especially because you do not want to miss this channel next year. You do not want to forget about this channel as you're getting ready for your drafts. Just hit that button. Stop missing out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.